welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Cricut 15-inch loom by Schacht. There's also a 10-inch tabletop loom as well, and this is actually really fun and simple, and you'll be very surprised at how quick it takes in order to make up a scarf. So let's go over some of the basics first. So my entire loom is now loaded, and you can see it's pretty firm. It's not too tight. If it's not tight enough for you, can always tighten it up like this. But now it's too inconvenient for me to actually loom weave while the machine is facing in this direction. So now I can change the direction to best suit me so I can weave very comfortably. So what we're going to just do now is we're just going to release the back clamps here off the table. Okay, and I'm going to turn it, machine. Just like so. And on the front of the machine they have the clamping positions just like so. Just go up underneath. And the reason for the clamps is that when you're going to beat the yarn with that heddle is that there's pressure applied to the yarn, and therefore it wants to move the machine. So you really do need these. So don't make sure you don't lose these things, because it's going to be very difficult to weave without them. So everything is now ready, and we're now going to then talk about our yarn, because now we're going to do the actual weaving stick in order to do the next process. Near the beginning of the video I talked about the high-end yarn being transitioning. So this kind of yarn, yeah, it sucks for when you want to go in the length of it, but now that we're going back and forth, this is where you can use this stuff, and this is what changes your scrap yarn project into being really amazing. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, just wind that onto the stick shuttle, and you can't do that when it comes to transitioning yarn. If it's one color, no big deal, just wind it on as much as you need. And a full-length scarf, you're going to have to wind this up about 3 times in order to get it to go. But on this transition yarn, you can't do that. And the reason for it, because it's transitioning a color and you want that transition to maintain into your scarf just like so, you want to make sure that you wrap it into a ball first. The reason why is that the first on the stick shuttle is the last off. So if I actually want to go and wrap that stick shuttle, the very beginning of this is going to be last coming off, and so when I go to rewrap it from the ball again, the next color transition will be out of sync. So we're just going to wrap this up into a ball. The length of the ball is up to you. Basically, the thicker you do the ball, though, the more thicker it's going to be onto the stick shuttle, and it could be harder to get through. So now, this green here is going to be the final color. That will be the last going on when you go to it. So you'll have to then wrap up this green again, and then just rewrap. So we're now going to let it fall. So let the ball fall. I actually let the ball fall into the center here, because what happens is it gets stuck in there, so it doesn't end up all over your house. You just want to just take it onto the stick shuttle just like so, and just use a flick of the wrist like that and wrap. Now because this is high-end yarn, this is actually really high-end yarn, it's not a problem going back and forth, because what's happening is that you only have to beat it once, and then you're moving on to the next line up when it comes to weaving. So you can use this stuff very easily going in the crisscross direction, versus you can't use it going in the length. Now before you begin, you want to double check. So let's pull this up, and I want to look and making sure that every one of the slots has something, and then I'm just going to pull it up and push it down and making sure. So you're going to see that you have all these ugly sections in the middle, and I'm going to just leave that down for now. Actually, I'm going to put it up. The reason why is that I've kind of gotten into the habit of this machine that I've made a decision that every time I go in this direction, it's always up, and every time I go in this direction, it's always down. And I've come up with that rule on my own so that, you know, I don't really have to think about it, because that is part of the thinking process. So let's start this. We're just going to leave it just like so, and we're going to slide the stick shuttle in between, just like so. We're going to actually, before I do anything more, I'm just going to release the brake on the back here, in the back, so I can move some of this yarn. So let's put this back down, and I'm going to get it so it just goes over top of the section right here. So it's over top of the bar. And let's re-secure the brake and pull it tight again. Okay, so let's go back up. So I'm now going to go across. So I've kind of pulled it back, and I want to come up on a zigzag. Okay, so I'm just going to let some section just fall out and come up on a zigzag just like this. And now I'm going to change the position and go down. Okay, and what I'm doing here, you notice I haven't beat it yet, is that I need to make this surface here flat and all of these to be perfectly in line with each other. So I'm just coming up underneath, and I just want to kind of come up on an angle just like that. Okay, so now I got a V, and now I'm going to go in the other direction, and we want to do this 3 times. Okay, and so there's kind of a trick to this whole like releasing the yarn, and you'll find yourself that you'll be looking at this yarn coming off the stick shuttle, and you'll be able to actually rotate it and do what you need to really quickly. So now that we have 3 on, okay, we want to take the beater bar and we want to pull it just like that. And so I'm being relatively gentle to it, but do you see how I'm using both hands? The friction there, if this wasn't clamped to the table, I'd be in serious trouble right now. So I want to just kind of help it a little bit if it's kind of stuck. Because what's happening now is that it's going to make this all an even way. Okay, so now the stick shuttle's on this side, so I'm going to go down. And so now you can see that it's nice and flat, and this will balance itself out. So I'm just going to go back and forth, just like this. So if you've made a mistake, it is very obvious. So let's, before I get to that, so I'm going to just weave as normal, and I want to come up on an angle. Reason why is that it has like the bumps of the weaving effect, and this is going to pull the yarn up and down, but it requires slack to do that. So if you go straight across, you're not giving it any slack, and so when you pull it together, it's going to be very tight. Okay, the sides, you're going to get used to doing the sides as you go along in your project. That is something that I would recommend doing a scrap project first that you don't really care much about, just to understand it. And what I try to do is that I try to get the sides so it's kind of like pulling over a little bit, going up on the angle, and then when I go down, it sits down just properly. If it's sitting too much out, you can always just pull it again, just pull it and go down. Okay, so I want to just kind of glancing, making sure I've not skipped over any of the weaving. If I have, you're going to have to go backwards out. This is not like crochet or knitting where you can probably hide a stitch really easily. If you do not go back and fix it, it's going to be very obvious in your project. One of the samples that I had on the table has actually got a mistake right in it. Let me show you it. Here's an example of one that I did where I seen that there was a mistake, and I said, screw it, I'm not going back. And basically I was just up here, and I could have backed out, but you can see how it jumped over. And what happened when I stuck in the stick shuttle, it caught one of them by accident and went under the wrong direction. So it's very clearly obvious when that happens. So in one direction it'll look like you've skipped over, and in the other direction it'll look like you skipped across. And so that's one thing you kind of just want to watch for as you're working on this project. So we're just going to continue as normal, and just going to go back and forth on this. It's no big deal. You can see I'm kind of using that, and so it just came off the end, and I'm finding myself that I've gotten so used to the stick shuttle with the yarn coming off that it's really easy to be able to just manipulate it so that there's not a lot of slack when you're coming off. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to pull. So this is it. This will finish off your lesson for today. You can move on to the next lesson. The choices will be on the screen. And you know what? You can just propel yourself. It doesn't take much time to do one of these projects, so you might be able to do this whole video series today as you're following along on my tutorial. Until next time, I'm Mikey from the Crochet Crowd.